The stars were silent. Far from the safe trade routes of the galaxy, a small silver ship drifted through dark space. Its hull was broken. Smoke leaked from its engines. Emergency lights flashed red inside the command deck. Captain Vaylor stood in the center of the bridge. His hands trembled, but his voice stayed calm. Status report. An officer looked up from a cracked console. Main engine destroyed. Shields gone. Weapons offline. Pirate ships detected, closing fast. The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. There would be no escape. Outside the ship, the blackness of space felt endless and cold. The nearest friendly system was 3 jumps away. Too far. Too late. Send the distress call, Vaylor ordered. A young communications officer hesitated. Captain, we are near the dark zone. Vaylor did not look at him. Send it. The officer swallowed and activated the transmitter. A signal burst out into space. It carried their location. Their damage report. Their plea. This is civilian vessel Solari Dawn. We are under pirate attack. Engines destroyed. We request immediate assistance. We will compensate any responding force. The message repeated. Again. And again. Across the galaxy, signal towers received it. In a wealthy trade system, an automated station scanned the call. Threat level, high. Location, dark zone border. Response, ignored. In a military outpost, an officer watched the signal appear on his screen. He shook his head slowly. Too risky, he said. Not our problem. The message continued traveling. Some heard it. No one answered. Back on the Solari Dawn, panic began to spread. Pirates are within attack range, a sensor officer said quietly. Through the forward view screen, black ships appeared. Long and sharp, like hunting blades. The pirate fleet slowed, surrounding the damaged vessel. Inside the pirate flagship, a commander smiled. Easy prey. On the Solari Dawn, crew members looked at each other. Some prayed. Some held hands. Captain Vaylor stared at the stars. Keep sending the signal, he said softly. The communications officer nodded. The distress call echoed again into the dark. Then something strange happened. A distant listening post in an old and rarely used star system detected the signal. The system had no strong alliances. No galactic power. No official protection status. Most maps labeled it with a warning. Death world. Primitive species. High aggression probability. Do not engage. The signal reached that system. Deep underground on a blue planet called Earth, a quiet monitoring station received the strange alien transmission. A human technician leaned forward. Sir, we're picking up something unusual. An older officer walked over. What kind of unusual? Unknown language. Repeating pattern. It sounds like a distress call. The room became silent. For decades, humanity had listened to the stars. They had heard signals before, fragments, noise, silence. But this was different. Clear. Desperate. Real. The signal repeated again. We are under pirate attack. Engines destroyed. We request immediate assistance. The human officer stared at the screen. Can we trace it? Yes, sir. A few seconds later, coordinates appeared. The officer's eyes narrowed. That's outside our usual patrol zone. The technician hesitated. Sir, this region is marked unstable. Multiple pirate factions. The officer remained quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke calmly. Notify command. On the Solari Dawn, pirate weapons powered up. Bright energy cannons aimed at the helpless ship. "Captain," the sensor officer whispered, "they are charging weapons." Vaylor closed his eyes for just a second. "Keep sending the signal." The pirate commander opened a channel. "Civilian vessel," he said coldly, "power down life support and prepare to be boarded." On Earth, deep inside a secure military complex, high-ranking officials gathered around a table. A large screen showed the alien ship's live signal. The message played once more. Silence filled the room. One admiral finally spoke. "Has anyone else responded?" "No, sir." Another officer asked quietly, "Are we really considering this?" The admiral's expression did not change. "Send long-range scans." Moments passed. Then a reply came from Space Command. "Signal confirmed. Alien vessel under threat." No other fleets detected in response. The admiral looked around the room. No one answered them. He stood up slowly. "Prepare a response." Back in space, pirate cannons began to glow bright blue. Inside the Solari Dawn, crew members braced for impact. The distress call echoed one more time across the galaxy. And somewhere, far away, engines began to power up. The pirate ships moved closer. Their engines burned like red stars in the dark. Small attack craft spread out, forming a circle around the broken Solari Dawn. There was nowhere to run. Inside the alien ship, fear grew heavy in the air. "They are locking weapons," the sensor officer said. Captain Vaylor stood still, watching the enemy ships on the screen. He had served for 30 years. He had seen war before. But this was different. This was helpless. "Open all channels," Vaylor said. "Maybe they want ransom." The pirate commander's face appeared on the main screen. His eyes were cold. "You are in the wrong part of space," he said. "Shut down your systems. We take your cargo. Maybe we let some of you live." The bridge went silent. Vaylor answered calmly, "We are a civilian ship. We carry medical supplies. Nothing more." The pirate smiled slightly. "Then you will die quickly." The transmission ended. Weapons powered higher. On Earth, deep underground, the atmosphere was completely different. There was no panic. No fear. Only focus. Inside a massive command room, screens showed star maps and moving signals. Officers studied the alien distress call again and again. A young analyst looked nervous. "Sir, we do not know who they are. We do not know their alliances." The admiral answered quietly, "We know enough." He turned to another officer. "Status of nearby fleets." 3rd Expeditionary Fleet is within jump range. 2 carriers. 8 destroyers. Support ships ready. The admiral nodded once. "Send them." Orders moved faster than light. Across Earth's orbit, giant warships began to wake. Inside one carrier, alarms echoed softly. Crews ran through bright metal corridors. Pilots entered their fighters. Engineers powered up engines. The human fleet did not rush. It prepared. Back near the dark zone, the pirates grew impatient. "Final warning," the pirate commander broadcasted. "Power down or be destroyed." On the Solari Dawn, crew members cried quietly. Some recorded last messages for their families. The communications officer looked at Captain Vaylor. "Captain, the distress call is still broadcasting." Vaylor nodded slowly. "Good." He knew no one was coming. But hope was hard to kill. Then a sensor beeped. The sensor officer frowned. "Captain, I am detecting something." Vaylor stepped forward. "Pirate reinforcements?" "No, this is different." Long-range scanners picked up a sudden spacetime ripple. A warp signature. But it was large. Very large. The pirate commander saw it too. "What is that?" he demanded. The ripple grew brighter. Then space itself seemed to tear open. A massive human carrier exited warp. Behind it, more ships followed. Destroyers. Cruisers. Support vessels. They formed a tight battle formation instantly, like they had practiced this 1,000 times. The pirates froze. The Solari Dawn crew stared at the screen in disbelief. The human fleet was silent. No broadcast. No warning. Just presence. The pirate commander opened a channel to his ships. "Identify those vessels." Scanners returned strange results. Unknown design. Heavy armor. Weapons charged. One pirate officer whispered, "Those are not patrol ships, that is a war fleet." Inside the human flagship, Captain Reyes stood calmly on the bridge. "Target pirate vessels," she ordered. "Targets locked. Send one message." The communications officer nodded. A short transmission went out. "This is the United Earth Fleet. Disengage immediately. You are violating protected space." Protected space. The pirates hesitated. "This is not your territory," the pirate commander shouted back. Captain Reyes did not argue. She simply said, "Fire warning shot." One human destroyer moved slightly. A single energy beam fired. It passed clean through a pirate cruiser. The ship exploded in seconds. Silence filled space. The pirates panicked. They destroyed Talrex in one shot. The pirate commander realized something terrible. They had attacked the wrong prey. On the Solari Dawn, crew members watched in shock. The communications officer whispered, "Captain, who are they?" Valor stared at the human ships. "I do not know," he said slowly. But they answered. The pirate fleet began to scatter. But the human ships moved faster. Precision strikes. Controlled attacks. No wasted fire. Within minutes, half the pirate ships were gone. The rest tried to escape. Captain Reyes watched calmly. "Do not pursue beyond zone limit," she ordered. "We are here for rescue, not conquest." The remaining pirates fled into deep space. The battlefield fell silent. The human fleet turned toward the damaged alien vessel. For a long moment, there was no communication. Then a message appeared on the Solari Dawn's main screen. "Distress call acknowledged. You are under Earth protection. Hold position. Assistance inbound." Valor felt his legs weaken. Earth. He had heard rumors of that world. A dangerous species. Aggressive. Unpredictable. Deathworlders. He whispered softly, "We asked for help, and the Deathworld answered." But far beyond the system, hidden sensors had recorded everything. And in distant alien capitals, leaders were now watching the human fleet move into the dark zone. One ambassador spoke nervously. "Why is humanity deploying warships beyond their borders?" Another answered quietly. "They were invited." The battlefield was quiet. Broken pirate ships drifted like dark metal ghosts. Small fires burned in the empty silence of space. The Solari Dawn floated in the middle of it all, weak and damaged, but still alive. Around it stood the human fleet. Huge. Silent. Watching. Inside the alien ship, no one moved. "They are surrounding us," the sensor officer whispered. Captain Valor stared at the screen. The human ships were not aiming weapons anymore. But they were not leaving either. "They saved us," one crew member said softly. Valor nodded once. "Yes, but we do not know why." A new signal appeared on the console. Incoming transmission. On screen, Valor ordered. The image flickered. A human appeared. Not in heavy armor. Not shouting. Not smiling. Calm. She wore a dark uniform with silver markings on her shoulders. Her eyes were steady. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the United Earth Fleet," she said clearly. "Your vessel is critically damaged. We are sending repair and medical teams. Please confirm docking access." Her voice was firm, but not cruel. Valor hesitated only for a second. "Docking access granted," he replied. Inside the human flagship, Captain Reyes turned to her crew. "Rescue teams deploy. Standard caution." Small human ships moved toward the Solari Dawn. On the alien vessel, airlocks slowly opened. The first humans stepped inside. They wore armored suits, but their weapons were lowered. Alien crew members stepped back nervously. One medic removed their helmet. The alien crew gasped slightly. The human face looked ordinary. Not a monster. Not a machine. Just a person. The human medic looked around at the damaged hallway. "Show us the injured," she said gently. For a moment, no one moved. Then one alien officer stepped forward. "This way." The humans followed. They worked quickly. Organized. Focused. They sealed hull breaches. Restored power to life support. Treated wounded crew members with tools the aliens had never seen before. Valor watched everything. "These are Deathworlders," he asked quietly to himself. He had heard stories. Humans were violent. Emotional. Unstable. But what he saw now was different. Efficient. Controlled. Compassionate. In the cargo bay, a young alien child cried softly beside an injured parent. A human medic knelt down and spoke in slow, simple translated words. "You are safe now." The child looked confused, but the tone was clear. Safe. On the bridge, Captain Reyes contacted Valor again. "Damage report?" she asked. Valor answered honestly. "Main engines destroyed. We cannot travel." "We will tow you to secure space," Reyes replied. "You will not be left here." Valor studied her face. "Why?" he asked. Reyes paused for a second. "Because you asked for help." It was such a simple answer. Far beyond the system, news was spreading. Long-range observers from nearby empires had recorded the battle. Emergency meetings began. In one bright alien council chamber, leaders argued loudly. They fired without negotiation. They entered unstable territory. They destroyed pirate vessels in seconds. They are expanding. One older council member spoke calmly. "Did the humans attack first?" Silence filled the room. "No," someone admitted. "They responded to a distress call." The old member leaned back slowly. "So, they are not invading." Another leader whispered nervously, "But if they are willing to send fleets for strangers, what happens if one of us threatens those strangers?" Back near the dark zone, human engineers attached towing beams to the Solari Dawn. The alien ship slowly began to move. Safe. Escorted. Protected. Inside the Solari Dawn, crew members felt something strange. Relief. Captain Valor stood near the viewport, watching the massive human carrier ahead of them. The ship was built for war. Heavy armor. Huge weapons. Powerful engines. But it had come for rescue. A junior officer approached him. "Captain, should we inform them of compensation terms?" Valor shook his head slowly. "I do not think they came for payment." At that moment, a human security officer stepped onto the bridge. "There is one more matter," the human said. Valor turned. "Yes. We detected a larger Pirate Alliance signal before they fled. They may regroup." Valor felt his chest tighten. You mean they will return? The human officer's expression did not change. They may. Outside, the human fleet shifted formation slightly. Weapons powered up again. Captain Reyes gave a quiet order on her bridge. Maintain defensive posture. If hostile forces return, we finish this. Far away, in deep space, pirate survivors gathered. And they were not alone. A powerful war faction had noticed human activity in the dark zone. A fleet much larger than the pirates was beginning to move. Toward the system. Toward the humans. Toward the rescued ship. Back on the Solari Dawn, Valor looked at the human fleet and finally understood something. They had answered the call. But now, the galaxy was watching. And not everyone was pleased. The Solari Dawn moved slowly through space, pulled by human towing beams. Around it, the human fleet stayed in tight formation. Weapons were active, but silent. Inside the human flagship, Captain Reyes studied a new report. Long-range sensors confirm it, an officer said. A large fleet is entering the dark zone. Not pirates. Identify, Reyes ordered. The screen changed. Unknown battle cruisers. Heavy warships. Organized formation. A flag appeared beside the data. The Carthan Dominion. Reyes crossed her arms. They claim this region. Yes, Captain. And they do not like surprises. On the Solari Dawn, Captain Valor received the same update. The Carthan, he whispered. They are powerful. They control half this sector. His first officer looked worried. They will not like humans operating here. Valor glanced toward the massive Earth carrier ahead of them. The humans do not seem afraid. In a distant Carthan command ship, a tall armored commander watched the human fleet through a holographic display. Confirm, he said coldly. Those are Earth vessels. Yes, Supreme Commander. And they entered our claimed territory without permission? Yes. The commander's eyes narrowed. Send them a warning. Moments later, a transmission reached the human fleet. This region is under Carthan Dominion authority. Withdraw your forces immediately. You are not recognized here. On the human bridge, the message played twice. The room stayed quiet. Reyes asked calmly, are they targeting us? Negative. Weapons are active, but not locked. She nodded once. Open a channel. Her face appeared on the Carthan flagship screen. This is Captain Reyes of the United Earth Fleet. We are escorting a rescued civilian vessel. We will depart once they are safe. The Carthan commander replied sharply, you fired weapons in our territory. We responded to a distress call, Reyes answered. Pirates were engaged. You had no authorization. Reyes' voice stayed even. We do not require authorization to answer a call for help. Silence followed. On the Solari Dawn, the alien crew listened nervously to the exchange. Valor felt trapped between giants. The Carthan fleet continued moving closer. More ships dropped from warp behind them. The human tactical officer spoke quietly. Captain, they outnumber us 3-1. Reyes looked at the screen without emotion. Numbers are not everything. In the Carthan flagship, advisors whispered urgently. If we allow this, humans will believe they can enter our space anytime. But they destroyed pirates. That benefits us. They did not ask. The Supreme Commander raised his hand for silence. What are the humans doing now? He asked. Maintaining defensive formation. No attack pattern. Are they retreating? No. He studied the human carrier carefully. They stand their ground. Back on Earth's flagship, Reyes made her decision. Transmit this message to all channels, she ordered. The signal went out across the system. We are not here for territory. We are not here for conquest. We answered a distress call that others ignored. We will leave when the rescued ship is secure. If fired upon, we will respond. Simple. Clear. The Carthan commander heard the message. He expected fear. He expected apology. Instead, he heard certainty. His fleet slowed. Both sides floated in silence, warships facing each other across the stars. On the Solari Dawn, crew members barely breathed. Valor realized something important in that moment. The humans were not aggressive. They were not begging. They were not threatening. They were simply refusing to step back. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the Carthan commander spoke again. You will complete your escort and depart. This is your only allowance. Captain Reyes nodded slightly. Understood. The tension did not disappear. But weapons powered down slowly on both sides. The Carthan fleet remained watching. The human fleet resumed its course. On the Solari Dawn, relief spread through the crew. Valor looked at the human carrier one more time. They had faced a superior fleet. And they had not moved. He whispered quietly, the galaxy feared them for the wrong reason. But deep inside Carthan space, some leaders were not satisfied. One advisor spoke in a dark chamber. They stood against us without fear. Today they escorted one ship. Tomorrow, what will they protect? The question remained unanswered. And the galaxy continued to watch humanity very closely. The Solari Dawn finally reached safe space. Human engineers repaired the main engines. Hull damage was sealed. Life support was stable again. For the first time in many days, the alien crew slept without fear. Around them, the human fleet still stood guard. They did not celebrate. They did not demand payment. They simply stayed. On the bridge of the Solari Dawn, Captain Valor prepared a message. Open a direct channel to Captain Reyes, he said. Moments later, the human captain appeared on screen. Her uniform was still perfect. Her expression calm. You are safe now, she said. Valor bowed his head slightly. Because of you. Reyes shook her head. Because you sent the signal. Valor hesitated. In our region, he said slowly, many received our call. None came. Reyes did not seem surprised. Distance creates excuses, she replied. Danger creates silence. Valor looked down for a moment. You crossed into contested territory. You faced pirates. You faced the Carthan Dominion. Why risk conflict for strangers? The human captain answered without hesitation. We do not abandon distress calls. The words were simple. But they carried weight. Across nearby systems, observers replayed the entire event. The pirates destroyed. The standoff with the Carthan fleet. The escort mission completed. In many alien governments, debates began again. They are expanding their influence. They are building reputation. They are dangerous. But others spoke differently. They answered when we did not. Back on the Solari Dawn, a small ceremony took place. Human and alien crews stood together in the cargo bay. No grand speeches. No flags. Just quiet respect. A young alien child stepped forward, the same one the human medic had comforted earlier. The child held a small metal badge taken from the damaged hull of their ship. He offered it to the human medic. For saving my parent, he said softly. The human hesitated, then accepted it with a small smile. Take care of your ship, she replied. Outside, the human fleet prepared to leave. Engines began to glow. On the human flagship, an officer looked at Captain Reyes. Orders, Captain. She looked once more at the Solari Dawn. Set course for home. The fleet turned in perfect formation. Before entering warp, a final transmission was broadcast across open channels in the sector. This is the United Earth Fleet. Any vessel in distress may contact Earth directly. We will answer. No threat. No demand. Just a promise. Then the human ships vanished into warp light. The Solari Dawn floated alone again. But it felt different. Safer. Captain Vaylor recorded a public broadcast to the entire region. He spoke clearly. We sent a distress call. Many heard it. Only one world answered. Remember this when you speak of humanity. They are not conquerors. They are not monsters. But if you threaten those under their protection, you will learn why they are feared. The message spread faster than the original distress signal. And far away, on Earth, life continued normally. People walked in cities. Children went to school. Ships patrolled space quietly. No celebrations. No public announcements. Because for humanity, it was simple. Someone asked for help. So they went. And in the silent dark between stars, that promise began to matter. The galaxy had learned something important. If no one else answers, Earth will.